Hi guys, in this video we're going to talk about the WP Ajax action and WP Ajax nopriv action hook. Okay, so if you go to Codex, we will know that both of these hooks allow you to create custom handlers for your own custom Ajax requests. The only difference between the WP Ajax action and WP Ajax nopriv action is that the WP Ajax action is used when the user is logged in, and WP Ajax nopriv action is used when the user is logged out. Okay, so as you can see, WP Ajax hook follows a format WP Ajax your action. So this action basically means this will be replaced by your action that you can define. Okay, the action property. So where your action is your Ajax request action property. Okay, so in a moment when we show the example, you will be able to know what this your action is. But for now, you can just familiarize yourself with this, that this is what it is. Okay, cool. Now, let's go ahead and take an example of this. Okay, cool. Before we do that, let me tell you where exactly this is defined. Okay, so if you go into WP admin and you open this file admin ajax.php and you scroll down at the bottom, you can see there is do action WP Ajax, and this is that action that we were talking about, the I'll show that to you. Yeah, this your action that I'm talking about, this will be replaced by this. Okay, and similarly for you have the WP Ajax nopriv, and then your action will be replaced by this, and you can see that this gets executed when this condition is met, which means is user logged in. If there is true, then this action will be fired. So it says fires authenticated Ajax actions for logged in users. Now this hook WP Ajax nopriv action fires non-authenticated Ajax actions for logged out users. Okay, that's the only difference. They both do the same thing. Okay, so what we can do is we can go on to our functions.php. You can use it in your plugin, but I'm using in my theme. Okay, what I'm also doing over here is that okay, just in fact, what I'll do is I'll use this in the theme itself, sorry, in the plugin itself. So I'm going to WP content plugin, and then I'm going to open IHS filters post. This is my plugin, and this is my main file for the plugin. Okay, so in this plugin file, main file of the plugin, all I'm doing over here is creating a form. Okay, and in this form, I have an ID of IHS form, method is post, and this is the label for username, and the input is username. Okay, and then there's a submit button. Okay, and I'm using a couple of functions here, but let me just show that to you in the front end. I need to activate my plugin for that to work. So I just filters post, it's activated. Okay, let's do that. So as you can see, this is the input field. Okay, and the name input field and the submit button. Okay, ignore this part, just coming from one of my themes. Okay, so this is basically your front end. Okay, so what I'm doing over here is that I have got my JavaScript file. So there are only two files we're going to talk about: the JavaScript file, which is mymrun.js, and then my plugin's main file, which is ihsfilterspost.php. What I've also done is I have included this JavaScript file into my uh, main plugin file by using WP script. Okay, so I'm using add action. I'm using this hook WP scripts to include my JavaScript file. This is calling my custom function Imran front-end scripts, and WP script, as you all know, includes the JavaScript file. So this is the name, and this is the path to the file. So plugin URL function is going to give me the path up until the plugin directory, and then it's under IHS filter post, and then my run.js is the file name, and it's going to include jQuery just before this, and that's why this is passed in array. So jQuery file will be included before this. Then you have this WP localize script. So this function basically goes ahead and creates a variable called myvar for, and goes ahead and makes the property name Ajax URL and the URL of the admin ajax.php file, which is this file that we spoke about where this hook is defined using do action. So it goes ahead and creates a variable, okay, with the property name as Ajax URL and property value as the URL of the admin ajax.php file, which is under the WP admin folder, okay, and it makes this variable available just before the mymrun.js JavaScript file, okay. So I can show that to you that it's actually doing that. So if I do the page source of this, okay, and I will search Ajax URL. As you can see, yeah, this is the mymrun.js file which has already been included, yeah. And just before this, we have our myvar variable, which has got property name as Ajax URL and property value as this, yeah, yeah. Property value is the URL of the admin ajax.php. As we discussed, it is under the WP admin folder directory. So that is why it's giving us the path of that. Okay. Why it is important to have this function, so that we can go ahead and link this to that file. Okay, it's for the Ajax request. And then next, I'm going to use the WP Ajax my Ajax hook. So basically, this is WP Ajax, you know, hook, but we are suffixing it with the action. This is our action name. Remember, we spoke about that into the hook that we spoke about. So WP Ajax underscore your action name. So my action name over here is my Ajax hook. This is the one from here till here. Okay. So I'm going to suffix that. So you can choose your name, but it needs to be the same name as what you're going to use in your Ajax request in the URL under the action name. Okay. And then I'm using this function do something, and with this under do something function, I'm going ahead and calling a function which is WP send JSON success, okay, which will go ahead and send the response to the to my JavaScript file after the Ajax request is complete. And don't forget to stop the execution after that. So use WP die after this request. So as we all know, what is Ajax? Ajax is basically yeah, asynchronous JavaScript and XML. So you know that how Ajax work is basically goes ahead and communicate between the JavaScript file and the PHP file. Okay, and it does that asynchronously. It does that in a background. Okay, without even page being reloaded. So that's what we're going to do now. So I've got my JavaScript file, I've got my PHP file, and these two files are going to communicate with each other. So JavaScript file is going to go ahead and send the data to PHP file, and PHP file is going to send the response whether it's success or not. So if it is successful, then hello world hello will be sent to the JavaScript file. Okay, so let's come into our JavaScript file now. What's happening here? So this is the self-executing anonymous function. I have passed jQuery into this so that jQuery will be available as $sign inside of this function. I'm using use strict so that I don't get any errors. If there are any, then they will get highlighted. Then what I'm doing over here is that I'm saying that, in fact, let me not discuss this one first. Let me talk about uh, the handle request function. So I'm creating a function called handle request. Okay, and in fact, I will need to speak about this because then I need to explain the name. All right, so basically we are saying that when the user clicks on the submit button for what? Submit button for the form. So as you can see into my main file of the plugin, you can see that this Ajax form is the ID of the form. So what we're doing is that whenever the user clicks on the submit button, okay, what you should do then, prevent the default method of the form. Okay, why we're doing this? Because we don't want the page to be refreshed. The moment if we click on the submit button, see, nothing is happening, page is not getting refreshed. Why? Because we have prevented the default method of this form. And it's important because that's what Ajax does. Ajax allow us to communicate between JavaScript file and PHP file, and send the data without even page refresh. That's the beauty of Ajax. So for that, we are preventing the default functionality of the form so that we can do it via Ajax. We can send the data via Ajax. Okay. Then we are defining this variable called name, and we are saying that document.getElement by ID username. So we are actually getting hold of the input field. This is the ID of the input field, which is this input field. We are getting the hold of that, and we're getting the value of that. So whatever user is going to type inside that, we're getting the value of this input field. And we are passing this value this handle request function. Okay, so whatever value is entered here by the user, and when the user clicks on submit, because that's what this function says, this is the event that we're putting this event listener, that whenever this form is submitted, go ahead and get the value of whatever is there inside this input field. Okay, because document.getElement by ID is going to get me the is going to get hold of the input field, and dot value is going to give me the value whatever is inside when this submit button is clicked on submit button is clicked by the user. Okay, so this handle request function will be called then, and it's going to get the value of name whatever the user has entered in this input field, okay, under the variable name. So when this function gets called, ideally we could have just done like this, jQuery.post, but we are holding this entire method into a variable, because then we don't have to call this again doing dot done dot fail. We can just call this variable instead of calling this entire thing dot done and dot fail. Yeah, so we're holding this in variable, and so we're saying jQuery.post. You all know that this is the method that we use for post. If we were using get method, then we could have used jQuery.get, but since we are using the post method, uh, all of this data that's going to be sent to the PHP file will be available in $_post. If we use get over here, then all the data that we send from my JavaScript file to the PHP file will be available under $_get. Okay, so in the post method, the first parameter, it's accept the URL, and remember, this is the object that's available to us because we are using WP Localize Script, which makes the object myvar available to us just before our JavaScript file that we discussed earlier. Yeah, so we're accessing this property. So we're saying myvar.ajax URL. So we're going to get this value, the URL of admin.ajax.php, because that's where our do action of the hook reside, both of them. Yeah, but currently we are discussing only this one when the user is logged in. Okay, so that's the URL will be available because this is the object and we are accessing the property Ajax URL. So URL will be available for the admin ajax.php, and then under the data property we'll have the action name as my Ajax hook, and this is what I spoke about is your action name. So this action name needs to be the same. So as you can see, this is my action name, my Ajax hook, and that's the same action name you need to use here as well into your add action hook. You need to append this action name over here. The reason why we are doing this is because whatever name you mention over here, okay, it's going to be then available under uh, super global $_request action. Okay, so whenever the Ajax request is made, then that value which is under action, because remember that's what we are saying, we want the request action. Okay, so whatever value is there for this action, which is under our situation, is my Ajax hook, that value will be available here. Once it's available here, this hook will be complete, because right now it's sitting incomplete because there's no value inside this until the Ajax request is made. Okay, so this value will be complete, which will be do action wp ajax underscore my Ajax hook. Okay, and then this do action will call any function that is attached to it, this hook. So then this will go ahead and call our do something. Do something is going to go ahead and send the response back to JavaScript, depending on the whether it's successful or not. Okay, and then next is name my should I put my name, because name my doesn't sound right. And then this will be equal to the name that is coming from here, whatever value user has entered. So whatever value user has entered over here in this input field, the same value will be available under name, because we are getting hold of that name over here that we spoke about. Yeah, so this is the jQuery.post request, and then we are using this request variable that we are holding this entire thing into .done. So if it's done, then response will actually have whatever response is sent by this function wp send JSON success. Okay, so if it's a success, then hello world hello will be available in the console log response. And similarly, if it is a fail, then that message will be available under response. Okay, so let's go ahead and put everything in action now. So let's say I go ahead and put my name over here, Imran, and go ahead and submit this and see what happens. So what you need to do is you need to go to network. If you can see, in fact, let's refresh and do it again. Just notice what happens here. Watch what happens here the moment I click on submit. So I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me just increase the font. Yeah. Okay, so I put this name over here. The moment I click submit, I've got this Ajax request made. Click on this Ajax request, and you can see status code 200 means okay, Ajax request has been successful. If you scroll down, it says form data, and under action we have my Ajax hook available. That's what we have here. Yeah, and then my name should be the name whatever user has entered. So what is user has entered? It's Imran, and that's what we have available here, right? If you click on preview, you can see this, we've got the success message as well. Hello world. Why? Because it's been successful, and that's why this wp send JSON success function is sending hello world to my JavaScript file, and that's what this console log is giving me. Yeah. Similarly, if you go to console, okay, so you're not consoling anything here anyway, so that's fine. Cool. So now, so what is this Ajax request doing? Ajax request is sending this data to my PHP file. Okay, and this data will be available under $_post. Why? Because we are using post request. So if I go ahead and print the post super global variable, we should be able to get these two values, because this is the data that's being sent to the PHP. So I'm going to go ahead and echo out. In fact, let's print it, not var dump. I'm going to print the value of the post array, and let's see what we get. Let's change the name. Again, there's a Ajax request made, and as you can see, it's successful. Let's click on response, and you can see that this is the array that we have for $_post. We have action, which is my Ajax hook, and then we have name my, which is Sayed. That's what the user has entered. Yeah. So this data, which is action and name, is been sent to my do something function, okay, which is the custom function for this hook. Okay. So in this manner, we will have the data what user has entered. So in case if you want to register a user, you can do that. Then you can use some WordPress function to feed this data into your database as well. Okay, so you can do all of that. So we're not going to go into that because this tutorial is basically to discuss what this hook does. Okay. Similarly, if you want to go ahead and use the hook when user is not logged in, then we can just comment this out and we can use the other hook, which is the WP Ajax nopriv, and we're using the same suffix which is the action name my Ajax hook. Okay, so everything is going to work entirely the same. All we have to do is just log out from admin and refresh. And now if I put the name over here, click on it, see if it's working again. Yeah, we've got all the information, got the response and everything. It's successful. But the moment I log in and then try and run, it is Ajax request successful, but um, we don't have the data. So response is saying 0. So we don't have the data actually to work with. Yeah. Great. So this is the job of these two hooks basically is to allow you to create custom handlers for your own custom Ajax request. Okay. So whenever this basically what happens is whenever this JSON request is made, when is it made? It is made when the user clicks on the submit button, because that's when we're calling this function. Okay, when this is made, this my Ajax hook value of the action gets available to the do action gets complete because this hook gets complete. Okay, and then this calls any custom function which is attached to this hook. Okay, and then which means that under our situation this is a do something function that we have attached to this hook. So since we are discussing this one, okay, and then this calls do something, and then this sends the request back to the JavaScript whether file whether it's successful or not, and then we can go ahead and utilize the data that's been sent by Ajax to the PHP file in form of the $_post. Maybe we can print the data or we can go ahead and put that in the database as well. Okay, so that's basically the job of this hook is to allow you to create custom handlers for your own custom Ajax request. All right, brilliant. So I hope that helps you. If you want to know how this data is inserted into the database, you can also go to my channel and go ahead and search for the video which should be able to tell you about how to do that. So this is the video, create register form page with Ajax in WordPress. Okay, so this is the video, you can search for it under my channel. Alright, guys, and if you like the video, please do share and subscribe to my channel, and see you in the next video. Thank you.